this app on the computer, and it posts it live to Twitter and YouTube, so people can follow along. Let me see here, and then I copy this and bam, and now I just tweeted out the link on mine, but tagged both of you guys here.
Sweet.
Cool. So we'll get started here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new, exciting day in podcasting as we here at Our Take Media launched a little bit of a new show called Our Take on Soaps. And today I am joined by two of the pod fathers of soaps, and that is from TV Source and Soap Opera Source and all these other amazing projects he's done in the past. We have Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Ryan, you're on mute.
Well, just way to make it awkward. And
Hello, Jonathan.
thank you, Ryan. And that other voice you heard, it's none other than Neville from Buzzworthy Radio. Hey, Neville.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well, doing well. You know what?
Doing
We're going
well,
to close
buddy.
out 2020 in the way we closed out 2019, hopeful and excited for the future, and just now prepared for whatever it's going to handle, because, man, this has been a year.
Can't believe it's only 2 weeks before we're in
We're almost
2021.
done.
So we're almost at the finish line, guys. So
It's there.
it's almost there.
It's there.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
But today, we actually have some interesting soap news to discuss. We really are going to focus on two huge topics and maybe dabble into a little bit else if we have some time. But you know what? First off, I think it would be more fun to discuss the Twitter disaster that was Ron Carlivati jumping on the internet today and caused a little bit of a stir as we tackled the whole discussion on what is rape again, because Twitter user Haley at HalesRose _ tweeted, at Carlivati Ron, if you're going to write a rape story, write it correctly. The writing is completely disgusting for that topic. Call it what it is, and and if you can't do that, don't write a storyline with that topic. It's that simple. Stefan raped Abby. It wasn't sex. #days. To which, of course, Ron had to jump right back on and say, yeah, that wasn't rape. Cue the Twitter mob. And the Twitter mob did what it did best and jumped right into his mentions and kind of just went off, causing a little bit of a storm, to which he eventually earlier today, came out with a little 4-part tweet basically saying, this was my opinion. Some may call it rape, some may not, but I don't believe it is. Neville, you kind of followed along with all of this, and then Ryan, I know you just kind of got caught up on the drama, so I'll throw it to you, Neville, first. What did you think of, I guess, his response? And first off, was it rape?
His response wasn't surprising. I mean, one, I was expecting a response anyway, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's rape because it was non-consensual. Here's my thing. I get his response because he's looking at it in such a way as like they were consenting adults, but it's an adult that's really not in full possession of her faculties. I mean, she was an alter, so she really was not consenting to it. So I definitely understand the reasoning behind the fact that I would view that as rape, because I would. She's not consenting to the fact of having sex with Stefan. That's it. She wasn't consenting to do it. I mean, we've seen it before on his other shows as well with the character of Tess, who was the alter of Jessica Buchanan on One Life to Live. That was done over there as well. So I just it's that was going to be a touchy topic. It's been a touchy topic since it first aired when it happened. So I don't know. That was we knew shit was gonna hit the fan once that came out, but in my opinion, yes, I do think it's rape. I do think it's rape.
So Ryan, we discussed this on TV Source a lot when the storyline initially aired, and Ron just. I have to agree with the original tweeter. He's not great at these rape stories. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
there's such a thing as a great rape story, but he's particularly really bad at them. So
Yes.
what was your take on everything and his response, and what do you think?
I think Ron is at his best when he doesn't engage in criticism. And I know that seems like a cop out, but he never really responds to it effectively. This is a prime example of that. I think after telling this story, finishing the story with Jessica, Tess, and Nash, and then doing the story with Todd and Marty, and then doing the story with Tess, Jessica, and uh, the Ford brother, and then
Hmm.
doing the story with Johnny and Kate, and then doing the story again on Days. At some point, you keep revisiting it, and it's a plot point. It's not designed to be a social issue story. It's not one that's done with care and as a PSA, that sort of thing. It's done as a plot point, and people can see it, and that's why I think you're able to look at it this way. Are they consenting adults? In if you squint, sure, but she has no control over that part of her body. If she was her person, if she was whole, she would not consent. Therefore, it's rape, it's a violation. And you don't have to to agree to disagree with someone. And by stating his opinion the way that he did, he opened the floodgates for people to come at him. And quite frankly, it's an offensive stance to have, especially when this is your seventh or eighth time as a head writer telling this similar style trope, and you've never gotten praise for it. Maybe you should stay away from it.
And continues to have the same response each time, like, "Yeah, it's not rape in my opinion." Then, like, if why respond? Like,
Yeah,
people say that exact same tweet that Haley said earlier. She's not the first one to say this. She won't be the last one to say
She
this.
won't be the last one either.
He gets those tweets every single day, and I know that must be frustrating and annoying to see. But like, you haven't responded yet. Why today? Like, what was the catalyst that made him decide? You know what? Let's do this. And part of me has to think it has to do with what's airing on screen right now, which is another rape storyline where for the first few months of it, it was a did he or didn't he do it type story where the character of Trip was being accused of raping Allie Horton and being the father of her child, and he's adamant he didn't do it, and she's adamant he did, and the families are like being torn apart. It's typical soap staples. And then now it comes out that no, guess what? The person who's been accused of rape didn't really rape her. It was his half brother that did it. And it's like I just I feel dirty watching any of his rape stories because like it's not, as you mentioned, Ryan, a social PSA storyline. It's not something I'm gonna learn anything about or come out of like differently. I'm just sat here like the entire time now can anticipate how the storyline is going to play out. I see where Kayla's going to have to go to Trip and be like, I am so sorry for accusing you of rape. And she now turns Trip into the victim of this storyline. And it's just, it's disgusting to anticipate and to watch and to see. And it just makes me sad because I think this could have been a great storyline, but it's not set up in any way that I see being a positive rape portrayal. Novell, what's your take on, I guess, the whole Allie Horton Trip debacle?
So I want to piggyback off the comments both of you have made because you're right. I do think in retrospect in some of the stories I've seen with Ron with this type of topic being portrayed on the shows that he had wrote for, it's more of a plot device. It's not really more of a PSA, a social PSA at all. You know, it's more to further the plot along with the story instead of bringing awareness and attention to the story. The only thing I've ever complained about when it came prior to this, uh, in reference to any of the stories that he's written, which I was kind of wondering if Ryan was going to mention this, but I didn't think he did. It was, I think I said this publicly even on Twitter. I don't know if I ever gotten lambasted for it at all, but it was when he was at General Hospital and Michael and Kiki had sex, and they only had sex after Michael tells Kiki the story of how he was raped in prison. So I'm by how that was portrayed to me, at least when I watched it, I'm going, so you mean to tell me that Kiki gave Michael some good loving because he got raped in prison? Because that's gross. Because that's literally how it came out to me. So that's why I was like, ever since then, I was like, I don't think this comes off well for Ron to portray those types of stories because that kind of was disgusting. But in reference to the the Alley Trip Charlie storyline, I watched yesterday's show. I did not watch it today, but I did watch it yesterday, and I will be honest. Overall, I think this is not handled in the way I would have expected it to be handled. Some of Kayla's reactions to the story are justified because of what she went through when Jack raped her. I do not. I mean, I understand that that's Patch's kid and he wants to defend his kid, but Patch, you were there when your wife was raped by Jack Devereaux. You've been there. You saw what she went through. And the fact that you are basically treating Allie like shit, that's not cool with me. I don't like how he's being portrayed to that girl. He should have some type of understanding of what she went through because you watched what your wife went through. I don't like how he's being written for the story. He's written to be like an asshole. He should not be the asshole in the story. Um, Charlie had so much promise. Mike Manning is a
So much
great
promise.
actor. He's such a great actor. I've seen his stuff on the Bay. Shout out to you guys. But him coming on the show, I agreed with your comment, Jonathan, about how he should have been. I think it was actually the conversation you and Ed Johnson had earlier today about how we were looking forward to seeing a leading man that needs to be
Hmm.
here, a new leading man that needs to be here. I mean, obviously, we could have that with Sean D, but I don't know how much they're going to invest in him. But here's this guy that's so charming. He's so charismatic. He's everything that we needed now in this show because we don't have this type of character right
Anyone like
now.
that?
And we need someone like this. And then all of a sudden, now here it is. We're going to make him not just Ava's son, but we're also going to make him an irredeemable rapist with
Yep.
no recourse whatsoever. Yes, you're going to say like you didn't mean to hurt her. Biggest cop out that you ever hear in the soap. Stop that bullshit. So
When she's on in canon saying she told him to stop. It's not like she passed out and like he raped her. She actually told him her rapist, "Hey, stop doing this." Like there's no like blurred lines here. He knew what he was doing. She tried to push him off. Like this is like there's no redeeming this character. And now he's going to torture Claire? Like this is ruining what like that actor could have done so much for the show. And I'm not saying he is going to be Sin level of, promotion for the show, but I think he could have been a soap staple. I think he could have been there for a while, and you could have told a lot of interesting stories with him. And like you said, there's not somebody like him. Just to chill. Like he reminded me of a Nick Fallon. He reminded me of this like fun, just soap character that they could tell those kind of like good, warm-hearted stories with. And instead, you know what? It's fine. He's not only Ava's son, but he also did one of the few like irredeemable soap sins that what we can either now whitewash away or
they're
like
gonna try. I mean, they're gonna try. I
hate the
mean,
show.
if anything has been proven, they did it with Ben Weston. So and
When
it's
was
not just
who was the last
it's not
rapist that got that got redeemed? I'm
It's
EJ,
it's
EJ.
right?
there's a lot. EJ also was in that trope, which I was surprised a lot of people were referring to the Alan rape with Sammy than
A
the
lot.
EJ rape with Sammy. Like everybody went to Alan, they didn't go to EJ. It was like, did we block EJ out of our mind
It's
here?
because we don't want to associate that with rape because he's still the love of her life.
So
I just
then what do we do with Luke Spencer? Because that's also a thing
Well,
there.
just the whole story was just has just been creepy. I've been, venting about it for months because it just felt like this was a chance do something to do something important because storytelling is important. It can be important, but it's all about the intention of the story. If you go into it with, we want to tell a serious story, we want
Hmm.
to, show the effects of what this act can have on a young girl, and we're going to explore it. That's different. It's still uncomfortable, but it's different than creating a character whose sole existence is to be someone who raped this person while also being a boyfriend to someone she knows and keeping an eye out on his victim for months. It's skeevy. And then to have the characters like Steve uh, just say the things that he said and be so, I hate the phrase out of character, but to be so out of character in defense of a kid who he's only known for a few years. And
but it's
I
his
feel like,
son. Like I will
yeah,
continue to defend that. Like he is blindly 100%. Like I understand people's negative reaction towards Steve in the story, but this is still like just because he hasn't had all 19, 20, 21, 20 whatever years with this kid, like he still cares about him like he's been there from day one. Like
yeah,
and he
he's
still
cared
wants
about
to
the kid who
defend
tried to
him.
kill his
And I
wife.
understand like he's ignoring Kayla's opinion, but he also is defending his boy and he in his heart doesn't believe that his child raped somebody or is capable of raping somebody, and he's right. Like that's what's
Well,
worse about this is he's right.
what I would have preferred is showing the effects of what of being a parent torn, wanting to believe that your child could never be capable of something so heinous, so vicious, so vile, but also understanding that it's quite possible because as much as you love your son, as much as you love your child, you don't know everything about them. And then you grapple with the fact that Steve's dad was a rapist who abused his sister, that his brother is a rapist who raped his wife, that his daughter is a rape survivor. That should have been more of a factor into Steve's reaction about this and being torn. Even if he even giving Steve someone that he can confide in and talking about how I don't want Trip to feel like I don't believe in him, I don't support him. But God, what if he did it? What if he did? What do I do then? That is a much
Yeah.
compelling character than I know Trip wouldn't do this, and you're lying, and blah blah blah, and just being completely um, unsympathetic towards women who are victims in all of this. Because even if Allie, and as we've been saying, if because the story hadn't played out yet, but even with Allie not necessarily knowing who her assailant is, but believing it's Trip, this is a girl who was still violated, who was still traumatized. And the fact that you're having somebody not believe her is in of itself a re-victimization of the character. That is something that we would be able to get if this was an elevated type of story, if that was the story that they set out to tell, but they didn't. This is a plot point. And as such, you get weak motivation, weak understanding, weak plotting, and the reaction that is pretty much universal pan from your audience because they're not feeling it. And I would just wish I want Days to, if they are going to do this kind of thing, be responsible. y'all have more than enough time to write these things out.
Hmm.
Does nobody own Google? Does nobody know how to use Google? Does nobody know how to call up Rain?
Yeah,
Does
that's what
nobody
I was gonna
know
say.
how to call up
Enrique
these different organizations
contribute.
and be like, hey, we need some help with this story. Can you help us tell it right? No, because I don't believe it's rape. Okay, there we go.
It's such a soap trope now where you have parents automatically just believe their kids if they only known them for such a short period of time, or if they've known them for a long time but they only interacted with them for just a short period of time. It's just when I heard that Steve's reaction was this, to the point where he was on Tripp's side 100% without any doubt whatsoever. And of course, yes, we know now that he is correct in his assumption. We get that, but at the time we didn't. But you've only known this kid for how long now, and you're coming to his defense as if you known him forever. I That's the part for me I didn't really understand. Why are you reacting in such a way that you automatically believe him without any sense of doubt in your head, even though that is your son? You have no sense of doubt at all because you really have not been a part of his life for years. And even when you first met this kid, he tortured Kayla like nobody's business. So I don't know. It's now coming as a trope that that's how parents react to their kids at this point. It's really no other way around it. And I don't know the longevity of how this story is supposed to be. I don't know if this is supposed to be I don't know how long this is supposed to play out. That's basically the bottom line. I don't know how quickly they're going to resolve this, since I know a lot of the time they wrap things up very, very quickly in the soaps nowadays, but I don't know what they plan on doing with this story going forward.
I feel like we have way too much time left in it. Like you've got, I wouldn't be surprised if this dragged out till February sweeps at least. For Hurricane Sammy to come in and play her role in the revelation and everything that comes from that.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to any of that.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. I'm over it, and I'm not. So here's the last thing I guess I will ask. One of the things that came up on Twitter today, as Twitter does, especially when some big topic of discussion like this sparks and happens, and this is what a discussion is. Just to those wondering, it's called a dialogue, not just when you get one side of the opinion. They tweeted a question: should Ron be fired because of his take on rape or rape stories? What do you guys think? And all I will say is be careful what you wish for.
I'll take this first.
Yes, please take that first.
No, I think Ron should have to go to sensitivity training. I think Ron should try to learn and understand why he feels the way that he feels about this and understand why people disagree with him on it. I think it would be a good conversation to start and address why you've done this similar trope multiple times. Why do you keep going back to this well? And I think this is where the press the press's responsibility comes into play, where Soap Opera Digest has failed its audience and the genre by not holding creative responsible for the damaging stories that they have told and the damaging um, ways that they have sort of pushed their creative process onto people. Do I think he should be fired? No. I do think that there needs to be a bigger conversation had, and this is where as I've said on Arctic Media before, this is where I miss the likes of Michael Logan, who had the balls to call these things out because he wasn't beholden to, oh, we have to do what's best for the genre. We can't be critical. We can't do. No, he like he would call it out, and that's what needs to happen. But you're not going to get that with SOD, and nobody's going to care if we call it out or Daytime Confidential or whoever, because we're not the main base. We're not the main base of power. The magazine is, SOD
But
is.
but that's been a problem across all four soaps, and I don't know what the reason or mind behind it is. If it's like a fear of losing access or whatever it might be, but they have not called out any of the remaining soaps, as Enrique points out, for the last decade. Like it's hard to say that when they gave Bold and the Beautiful best soap last year. Like, I'm sorry, your credibility is through the gutter when we're praising a show that isn't deserving of it. And I'm not going to turn this into an SOD bash, but I think
I will.
I know you will, but that's why I'm clarifying that, and we're moving forward.
Listen,
But
Jonathan,
my,
when you're the sole survivor, when you're the only magazine that covers all the
then
soaps,
what's
Don't even get me started.
then
Don't
you
even
what?
get me
But
started.
you have a responsibility, and and it's
I
not a bash SOD thing,
no,
because I get it. I do
so
understand that.
okay. Here's my question then: is SOD at this point in the game? I feel like it's more entertainment than something that's newsworthy. Like, I don't see it as a news week. I don't see it as something that's hard hitting journalism where they're
That's
going
because
to
it's
do
not.
that. I
It's
feel
not.
like
It's a
it's like
puppy.
Disney like magazine. I feel like it's something like it's fluff pieces on the soaps. I don't feel like it is like do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like it's something where
Yeah.
I'm reading it and I'm going to get those in-depth interviews, or I'm getting that really like the news is breaking, or all this stuff that I guess you guys grew up and got to enjoy with SOD and the Soap Opera Weekly and all the different magazines that came out. What I look at it as just like it's that fluff thing that I see in the grocery store that I pick up every now and again. I'm like, huh, that's interesting, but I don't pick it up thinking this has the responsibility that I feel like I'm holding online journalism to a higher standard.
Well, it's propaganda, which
Yes.
I'm not
Well said.
bashing it, but it's propaganda.
Yes.
It's designed to push the narrative. Look how great these shows are. Look how great they're doing. Look at X, Y, and Z. And I really took that in when over the summer they completely ignored the Melissa Reeves controversy, the Ingo Rottenmacher controversy, the Camila Bannis controversy, and instead chose to only talk about how, well, TV Line got it wrong that Melissa was fired because she wasn't fired, but they didn't talk about anything else. That's not what they want to do, and that's their right. That's the right. That's the purview of the editor, and I get it. But you are the last bastion of greatness essentially for that medium, and you're choosing to turn a blind eye and not hold people accountable. And because there's no one who's willing to hold them accountable in a space that matters, you're going to continue to get the things that you're getting. Um, and that's, you only see soap coverage in Entertainment Weekly when they float them an exclusive. They're not regularly covering it, though Entertainment Weekly is one of those outlets that if they were, say, doing that, I do think you would have a little bit more of people being held accountable. They do it with their primetime showrunners. They did it throughout. There was one of the shows on the CW, I think it was Roswell, season two, where they pretty much hammered hard about the valid criticisms of the show, and ended up doing a couple of in-depth columns about it. And that showrunner ended up being ousted at the end of the season because of everything that had been going on. That is responsibility. That is power in journalism. That is them holding people accountable. When Variety goes and does an in-depth interview with Leonard Roberts, former star of Heroes, and gives him a
Ooh,
platform to
ooh,
talk about the
Yeah.
yeah. Let's
racial
talk about
aggressions that
that.
he went through and encountered with Ali Larder. He was given a safe space to do that. Do you really think SOD would do that if one of the Black actors came and said, I'd really like to share my experience that I had with racism and mistreatment at the show? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to turn a blind eye to it because they don't want to pull the curtain back and expose the dark side, the downsides of the genre. And that's their right. But this is what comes with that. You
Right,
don't hold people accountable. You let them get away with anything.
right, right. yeah, I understand they want to cater to the masses, whether it's the audience, whether it's the shows, whether it's to the actors, the producers and writers and the publicity teams. I get that. I understand that. But Ryan, you're right. It's just a matter of the fact that we've lost a champion that was able to come in and basically just say what's wrong with the show without any fear of anything coming at their way. He just came and said it and went about his business. Michael Logan was that bad boss man. Like he really was it. We don't have really anybody anymore that's that powerful in this industry that's able to call any of the remaining shows out on what's wrong that needs fixing. And Jonathan, in answer to your question, no, I don't think he should be fired. I, obviously I've always felt Ron starts off very, very strong. He starts off very strong in the beginning, and then somewhere down the line, it starts to falter, and that's when he really needs the help. He needs that help with a co-head. He needs that help with a co-head that kind of also knows the history and is able to scale him back some, so he could tell a really good story. And I think in recent history that hasn't he hasn't really been able to do that. Um, but as you said, be careful what you wish for, because if he were to go, what's left? Because they don't go for the
Dina,
blood in this business.
Dina,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dina.
We're getting Dina or Josh Griffith. We're getting the recycled has-beens. We're not going to get somebody new. You're not going to get, like, I'm sorry, your Twitter dreams of having Sherry Anderson or having this one or that one is not going to happen. We're not going to have a renaissance come through. We are going to get Tina Higley writing the final year of Days of Our Lives, and I don't want that. Like, I do not think Ron Carlivati is the best head writer Days has ever had, but I will watch his show over a Dina Higley show any day of the week
Yeah,
because,
he
man,
works. He works at days. Ron's able to be crazy and zany and do a lot of the fun stuff that he likes to do, and it works in the context of Days because that's the kind of show that Days became. Um,
Right, right.
and it makes it work. I have enjoyed a lot more of his days than I have disliked. I think he's lasted a lot longer than any of us thought he was going to. And for days, that's a pretty big deal because, again, the only person who tends to last long is Dina. And then she gets fired and they try to fix it and they bring her back and try to, yeah. So,
And then we hear about
uh,
the new days all over again. The new days that's happening. I was like, no,
yeah.
man, it's not the new days. Stop.
But
It's just
I just want him, I would love it if he was the kind of writer who understood the power that he has to tell bold, socially driven stories if he wanted to. And he doesn't want to. And that's okay. Because the last time we got one of those, we had, you know, the
Black Lives Don't
shooter,
Matter.
uh, being consoled as,
oh.
so yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm good.
yeah, I mean, and of course, people look at, oh, that he's, Ryan's always been a Ron sympathizer. Nah, I'm critical when I need to be. And I think if you listen to this episode and say that I'm not being critical, then I don't know what you've been listening to, you know? So, but I don't think he needs to be fired. God, no.
No, like I don't like I. This is Days. This is what I'm gonna get from Days, and unless we're bringing James E. Riley back from the grave, I'm okay with this. Like, it's fine. Like, just don't tell another rape story, please. God, 2021, don't do it. Don't do it. All right, so that brings us to our next topic, and the one that I don't think I was expecting to hear in December of 2020 at all, and I don't think any of us were, and that is that we got a little update from ABC, and we finally found out what's going on with the rights to All My Children, as Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos a reboot called Pine Valley from Andrew Stern, and we've got a little bit of a log line, some thoughts. So let's get into it. So the series is touted as being a primetime series that will feature a new generation. The actual storyline is going to revolve around a young journalist with a secret agenda who comes to expose the dark and murderous history of a town named Pine Valley, only to become entangled in a feud between Kane and Santos families. The series explores all the secrets that come with the Kane and Santos family names. Man, Ryan, what was your first thought when you heard the news that AMC might be coming back?
When when I got that release and saw that the, and yes, I'm going to call her this, the Calendria Ripa, okay, the Calendria Ripa was going to be rebooting All My Children with her hunky Latin husband, Mark Consuelos. Oh my goodness. But when I saw that they were going to be behind this, I was like, oh, this is great. And then I read more and I was like, oh, Addis Nixon's son is involved in this. Oh, that's
Mhm.
great. Oh, wait, they've got a British head writer from East Enders
Yep.
coming to work with this
Mhm.
show. What?
Mhm.
Oh, this is going to be awesome. And it's the exact type of thing that our Take Media, that TV source has talked about. Instead of bringing back these expensive daytime soaps, why not take the IP that you own and mine something new from it? I think this is a great thing, and it's oh, I'm so excited with the possibilities. Kelly Ripa is such a fan of All My Children. This is someone who has always respected where she came from, has always talked up, how important that show is and was to her career. And to see her and her husband being involved with it, with the people that they have involved, I'm so excited. I can't wait to learn more about this in the coming months. And I'm going to be following it like I'm going to become obsessed with it. I'm going to become like an obsessed Pine Valley stan because I want to know everything. Who's involved? What
Mhm.
creative do you have? What actors are you bringing back? What new actors are you bringing on? Are you going to be involved in it in some capacity? Like, where are your sets going to be stored? Are you going to just borrow the sets from General Hospital and like do something like, what are you going to do? I need to know more, Kelly. Tell me more.
Neville, what was your first impressions?
I was in shock, man. And the first thing I noticed that it was released at 1 o'clock, which was the time that All My Children normally would air on ABC every day of the week. So of course it was apropos that it gets released at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So bravo to you guys for knowing that piece of knowledge. So um, I was very, very surprised in a happy way that they are planning on doing this way because honestly, that would be the best market to do this. And think of not just in the primetime circuit, but think of seeing it on the streaming networks. Like it could go onto a Netflix or a Hulu with its next day airings. That bringing a whole other audience into it. I know we tried it with Prospect Park, but this is completely different makeup. So I think that's going to work out huge for that show. So I hope it does get the green light to press forward. As Ryan just pointed out, that Agnes Dixon's son is going to be involved in this. Besides Kelly Ripa and Marcus Wallace, look, Kelly's been my girl as Haley Vaughn. She's been my girl even since Dance Party USA here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, back in 1987. Yes, we're throwing it back there. So um, she's been always very supportive of her daytime television roots. She's always supported the show. Even on the last day that it aired, they had this great montage of it, and she did the interviews with the All My Children cast. Part of me felt like something was brewing when she did this All My Children reunion with Lanucci and the Santos
Yeah.
clan. Something had to have been brewing there because of all the clan that was there, it was the Santos and Kane clan with Jackson Montgomery also in the mix. So I'm going like, oh, so now that's all tying together now that those two families did that reunion special. So Now it makes more sense. And having a British head writer from EastEnders bringing that over here into the States. We tried that with Young and the Restless, but since this is going to be in a prime time model, they're going to be able to do a lot more with this show than you probably could have seen in a daytime model. Everything that you would probably see in a Hollyoaks that Jonathan and I and Ryan, I'm sure you also watch as well, that we see over there because it has that primetime feel to it, brings it right over here as well. Imagine real life sets. Imagine not just being confined in that one set. You'd be outside, you'd be this, you'd be that. They're going to be able to do so much more with the story that you would not have been able to get in a daytime setting. That's going to bring about so many different avenues with this show that you would not possibly imagine. As Ryan said, I can't wait to find out who's going to be more involved in the show. I would love to see if Kelly and Mark are going to be in the show as well, aside from being the executive producers of the show. Obviously, La Lucci has got to be a part of this. If she's not, I'm going to be very surprised because we need some Erica Kane back in our life. Um, I'm
So, so
what?
I posted something controversial because that's what I do.
That's what you
the
do.
I said the same thing, Ryan. So I'm right there with you.
Oh my god, I didn't see it. Yeah, you got to tell me because I didn't see it.
So here's my thing. Like at that point, I didn't like there's and this is a still evolving story, so we don't know fully if this is a
Yeah, we'll discuss that part in a second.
semi-continuation. But what I said is, oh my God, what if Kelly Ripa cast Sarah Michelle Gellar as her version of Erica Kane?
I
did not see that.
need that to happen. I need
I
Sarah
didn't
Michelle
see
Gellar
that.
on this show.
Can
Oh
you
my God.
imagine? Just imagine.
Just that
So
role.
if there is a new continuity, if there is a new envisioning of some of these iconic characters, I think the only person you could have play Erica Kane is Sarah Michelle Gellar. If you're not gonna,
Well,
you know what I mean? Like it's just it's iconic.
okay.
It's controversial.
So
it's bold. It's
I want that to
beautiful.
happen. I
I
really
wouldn't.
do.
I
Just for
wouldn't
the
be
petty,
upset with it.
just for the pettiness of it all. Like I need it because that's who I am. But so here's what I'm gonna say. If we're gonna reboot it, okay. So one, do you guys want a reboot or do you want a continuation? I'm team reboot. I'm team forget the past, leave it in the past. This is Earth 2020. This is a separate universe. This is our own take on things. And we just have the Kane family and the Santos family and some of our other favorite characters in name rebooted and retooled in a new way, and we take the stories forward in a modern take. But do you guys want it to be a continuation? And if so, if
Reboot
we're
it.
continuation, then like does Prospect Park exist? Like how does this
No.
work? Like I
No,
don't,
take the
listen.
5 year thing out of it because they did a time jump 5 years in advance. So I would totally forget that aspect of it. I would more or less like it to be
like do
the
we
next
want
generation.
Dynasty
I
or do
want
we
the next.
want Dallas?
I
Like that's what the true question is. Do you want a complete
I would
retake
like.
or
I
you
would
want
like.
to continue it on?
I would like it to be like the Dallas of TNT set a little bit, where it focused more on the new generation, but you still had some of the old generation be a part of it. So you still have that history there, but I wanted to focus on the new generation because honestly, I think that would sell in primetime more so than anything else. If you focused on the younger generation that made up these families,
Well,
so
and that's why I think that you can't have all that baggage of the original show, because if I'm gonna start watching Pine Valley and you're gonna be like, okay, but you have to reference the wiki to find out what happened in the last 45 years of these characters' lives, I'm gonna say, all right, well, never mind. I'm going to go over here to this other show where I don't have to stress out. Like I don't feel like from a primetime audience standpoint, like telling me I have to deal with baggage from 30 years ago is going to be
it's just a way to usher
advantageous
them in
right
and
now.
usher them in, and then they can just
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
go off
I
and do their own thing. That's not
It's
going to be a focus.
it's just too much.
I
I
think
want
the
a new
better
kind.
creative path would be a reboot
Yeah.
because you free yourself from the constraints of time. You are then able to manipulate 40 plus years of canon, essentially 40 plus years of source material, into molding it how you want to do it. And you're
Mhm.
able to revisit iconic moments through or in iconic storylines through a new lens. That's the better thing. And then you can cast fan favorites in guest starring roles, in cameos, and things like that that lure the other, the longtime fans in. But the goal is you're not going to have enough longtime fans watching All My Children, Pine Valley, to make it a hit. Because let's be real, if you were watching All My Children the way that people loved it, it would still be on the air. That's just the reality of the
Absolutely.
situation.
Absolutely.
So I think the smart thing is you reboot, but you mine the source material, and then you work in the longtime favorites, and you bring them in for maybe short arcs, or you
Mm-hmm.
do little extra webisode type things. You know what I mean?
I,
To really kind of get that going, and then you can run the well of maybe if you've got this Pine Valley primetime spinoff that's a new, loving, a great thing, maybe there's content that you could then do with the existing IP and the existing
uh-huh.
universe
That
and do these kinds of things.
I
So,
I think you could build a whole multiverse around this, and you could
yes,
have
So it would
Megasoap!
be.
this
So it would
exactly.
Hashtag
be.
I was
Megasoap
gonna get
universe.
there. I was kidding.
So it would be. So it would be like the Port Charles General Hospital set, but in a new age.
Exactly. I think there's a lot that you can mine and you can redo and reboot because I think telling a modern Angie and Jesse story would be fun. I think telling all of these cool stories from the past with modern takes is exactly what we need. I just don't. I think if you have all the baggage to it, like kids today are not going to be like, dude, you want to go home and watch Pine Valley? I've got 40 years of history that my mom can tell us about. Like, I'm good. I just want to watch the show and enjoy it for what it is and have those cameos and those appearances to lure the longtime viewers in. And maybe do like the General Hospital or Ron Carlivati thing of like, wink, wink, hey, I remember, in another life I was, doing this and like just have like little throwaway lines for the fans and just have fun with it.
No, I would appreciate that a lot more than
Like
anything
I
with
just
this.
I don't need it to be a continuation. So, who is your three cameos you want? Top three cameos you want to have. You only get three for season
um,
1. So who's it going to be?
Susan Lucci as Erica Kane's mother.
Yes.
Um, that's one. Um, Eva LaRue
Okay.
in some capacity. Maybe she could be, the Santos matriarch. Okay. Uh, and then I don't know who my third one would be. I honestly don't know because
Sabine Singh as
I
Greenlee.
don't Greenlee. Yeah, I could see
Uh,
that. I could squint
all
and see
right.
it.
Right.
I
I
could squint. See.
We'll
This
go
is why I
there.
really,
I
truly, truly wish
Debbie Morgan's for me.
David Canary was still around because
Yes.
I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been really cool.
Novelle, who are your
Um,
top 3?
Well, I already said the one. Susan Lucci obviously would be involved in that in some way, shape, or form. She had to be. Julia Barr is my next one because I kind of feel if this I kind of like tied it to all right, journalist, maybe like a new age version of Tempo. Somehow, Julia Barr could be somehow tied into that. And then my third one, ooh, that's hard. Um, that is hard. Who would I pick as my third one? Um, Bugger. Um,
I know, right?
yeah,
that's
yeah.
hard.
It's a lot.
It is so
So,
hard.
uh, For
I
me,
would.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, number one. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
need her on a primetime drama, just being my soap
Oh,
vixen
okay. So
and
how about
doing it.
Alicia Minshew and Sarah Michelle Gellar working together?
Ooh. Ooh. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that might be interesting.
Yes,
I
that
just
would be very
I need
interesting.
I need to see. I cannot wait. Debbie Morgan's on my list, and you know what? I as much as I'm
I would love to see Debbie
there,
Morgan. Yeah, for
Susan
sure.
Lucci. I would like to see Susan. I think you have to have her. Have to have her to at least launch the show because you have to do it. So what characters? This is different. So we said actors. So what characters do you think have to be on the first season if we're going to reboot this? And we'll tell a streamlined version of their story throughout here. But what are some of the characters you think have to be on there? They don't have to just be Kane and Santos's, but remember this is a primetime show and we're not going to have 75 characters on the show.
So I think you anchored the show with the Kane Chandlers. You have a Kane marry into the Chandler family, and that's a big, you know, thing.
So who marries who?
Um, the Kane
Miranda.
marries the Kane.
Miranda.
Ah, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
oh,
how old
we're
are you going to
going
make
into
these
that.
people? How like
I
that's
think, I think
Yeah.
like
you,
is
I think
Erica a
you.
teenager? Because I feel like you have to do
No,
the Erica Kane story. So is she a teenager in this? Is she a
no,
20 something, a 30 something?
no. Erica Kane is played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. Okay,
See,
that has to
I
happen.
know.
She married she marries a Chandler. Okay, she basically the husband dies. She becomes the matriarch of the family, and she ends up having a rivalry with the Santos girl, who
Okay.
was a Chandler who married into the Santos family, and that's basically the main crux of the rivalry. That's how I would handle that. But you got the chain Candlers, the Canes and the Chandlers of a marriage or whatever. You got the Santoses going on. Maybe you pull in a classic family, like the Martins, is maybe like the town doctors or something. I hope there's a murder mystery with somebody dying in a jet ski accident because that's just hilarious. Um,
Oh, it should start off like like the Revenge did, like
That's what I was
yes,
going to
revenge
say.
type of thing.
yes, a big gala, a big like. There's so much they could do. But yeah, if you were to do like a young Erica, right? Maybe not a teenage Erica, but like an Erica in her 20s, who is, you know, uh, in love with someone she's not supposed to, and that starts scandal upon the family, and maybe she, you know, killed someone, or I don't know. I need somebody to be a murderer. Like maybe something happens, and that's what sets off the feud. But oh, what if? Okay, I have the perfect role for Susan Lucci. Are you ready?
Okay.
She's the narrator of the series.
Like Desperate Housewives.
Yes, like Desperate Housewives, like Kristen Bell from Gossip Girl. Like she's the
Okay.
narrator for everything. Yep.
Oh, I could see that. That actually would work out too for her.
And I think it would be like super super cool to do. But I'm going to use I'm going to use every little aspect and connection that I have to try to reach out to the people involved in this show as we find out more, because I suddenly want to know everything that this show could be. And Jonathan, we could do a show just on Jonathan, you should do an Our Take
You're so excited about
Presents
this.
Pine Valley reboots ideas or something like that. And just
Mm.
do like an hour long session where we just take in fan feedback and our feedback and we just talk about it because it's exciting.
Well, you've said it
Jonathan.
on the air, so I mean, I guess that means it has to happen. Because remember, that's my golden damn rule. You already got me swearing, but that's my golden
No!
rule
Jonathan,
is
it was
if you
just a
say
suggestion!
something, then we gotta make it
No!
happen. So I guess we done gotta make it happen. So I
Guess
guess
you gotta
that's a
make it happen.
thing.
It is a thing.
It's a thing. There you go. So I'm just I, who are some of your characters that you really want to see redone, Novell?
See, I'm now contradicting myself because I said leave Prospect Park out of it, but now I'm like, but I loved Denise and Eric as AJ and Miranda on that show. I kind of want to see them in this capacity because she did play Miranda as somewhat of an Erica in the Prospect Park version. I would love to see her somehow tied into this. I loved her in that role. So I would love to see Miranda like taking. That's a very interesting take that Ryan did with that. Kane married a Chandler, and then she became the matriarch of the Chandler household. I could totally see her doing that. That would totally be a thing. I would love to see that. Um, See, I'm trying to think outside of the Santos clan and clan that I would love to see in here because that's very, very hard. Because I'm trying to do younger than some of the older characters that I want to see presented. That makes it even more difficult.
Well,
Um,
while you think of that, I'm just gonna say two names I think have to be attached to this because soap fans just need them, and also I think they would work well in Pine Valley and Primetime. That's Brittany Underwood and Kelly Massal. Like, I'm sorry, we've been casting them wishfully in every damn thing. I'm gonna
yes,
just
we
go
have.
ahead,
Yeah, we
Yes,
have.
throw it
I
out
Yeah, we
agree.
have.
now.
Yeah, we have.
We're
Yeah, we
already
have.
putting out there they need to be on the show in some capacity. Brittany Underwood, Kelly Massal, get on your agents. We got your back. We're putting out there. Come
You
on.
know what I would love to see? I would love to see a race bent Cortland family
That
because
was
the
I was
Cortlands
gonna say
were
who's
old
gonna get
money.
race bent in this, and what character is gonna be gender bent? Because somebody out there is gonna be doing it. It's 2020.
So I got the perfect thing because again, I've always loved the Chandler family, right, Novell?
Yes,
um,
fair enough. That is true.
gender bit, race been the Chandlers, race been the Chandlers, and instead of Kendall being a girl, make Kendall a boy. That would be interesting.
Oh, so you went new dynasty on me.
I did.
Um, you did. That's very interesting. Yeah, reversing the gender roles in this. Interesting. Huh.
Imagine if Erica's son, Kendall, got a Santos pregnant, and the Santos decided to have the abortion.
Had the abortion. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could
And
totally see this.
that is just not something that you do in this town. That's just not something that happens. You can still you can still have the Kane women because they're Kane matriarchs. You have them be this force, this power. And Kendall is the the son that nobody expected her to have. And he then basically becomes the apple of her eye, and he's messy and manipulative and just has a rebellious streak as his mother, but he gets into a lot more trouble, and that trouble is what causes so
The
much of
rift.
the.
The
Yep.
rift.
Yep.
So we definitely we need. I would totally love that because that's kind of awesome. And now I'm going like we need a Brooke English to the Erica, the new age Erica. So we would need a Brooke English to the Sarah Michelle Gellar's Erica Kane. So who would be that person that could play the new age Brooke to Sarah Michelle's Erica? Who do you think? I mean, I could still see Lish doing it, but I was like wondering who else could we put into that
Huh.
stream that would be such a catalyst for her. Because if you want to play this game, I could easily say Eliza Dushku, but uh,
Oh my God! See, this is why we're friends. This is
I
why
would
we're friends, buddy.
I was like sitting here going like, you know what, if you want to go that route, we could do Eliza Dushku right now. Let's go. Let's bring that back to life.
That would be great. I honestly, who
Because if
I'm trying to
if
think of
anything, if
people
you're
that
gonna
aren't in
keep
work.
what's that?
I'm trying to think of people that don't currently have jobs. Because
I have the perfect person to fit that role. I want to know what you guys would think. If you make her over, What about Katie Cassidy?
I was thinking about her when my mind during the midst of some of these descriptions went to the new Melrose Place. And I literally was thinking of her, obviously because when you were talking about cameos, I was going like how the new Melrose Place had the old Melrose Place characters come in, and then Heather
Hmm.
Locklear's came in, and then I was going like, that could probably work for this. And then you said Katie Cassidy, and I was like, yeah, what the heck is she doing right now?
That would be good, but I just had an even better casting. Are you ready? Are you ready? Bethany Joy Lenz.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. All of this. All of it. All of it. There.
That would be
Nope.
perfect.
We're done. We're done. That's it. That's how we're gonna do it.
Jonathan, do you approve? Do you approve of this casting?
I really like both of them, so I think that would be perfect for it. Um, I was I was trying to race bender and trying to figure out who I wanted
Ooh.
in there, because like my
Okay.
immediate thought was I want to see Sarah Michelle Gellar versus Gabrielle Union.
You know what? The only thing I would say about that is Gabrielle Union has a hard time getting her pilots picked up. That's the
Yeah,
only
but
thing.
she's
Maybe
got
if
one
we
with Disney
cast her
Plus.
after she joins the show.
She's got one on
Like
Disney Plus, so that's why I was like, we'll let her do her one season on Disney Plus and then get her in for season 2.
that, oh my god, that
Mm.
would be great though. Actually, Kylie Bunbury, who starred in the ABC series Twisted. She later ended up doing the Fox show Pitch. She's now starring in ABC's Big Sky. I think she would be a really great race bent
What about
Brooke.
Tika Sumpter?
Tika, is Tika Sumter available?
She's
I was
only
gonna
doing
Because
say
Tyler
she's
Perry things.
available.
Or
I mean,
I'm stealing her.
she's filmed like 13 seasons of Tyler Perry show.
Exactly.
She
But she can
she's
do that
got
in a
mixed fish.
weekend. Tyler
Oh
Perry
my
puts them
goodness.
on the dang like commune for a week and then they film like 2 seasons. It's okay.
Oh
She
my
can
I
goodness.
come out
mean,
and do this.
I I mean, I've been okay with it, but I'm like that homegirl is busy as
Booked
ever.
and
So
busy. Booked and busy. But
she is
that would
booked and
be great
busy.
though. That would be great. And on top of that, imagine if you managed to find some way to get a cameo from Renee Elise Goldsberry, Tika
Yes. That's
Sumter,
what I was
and Debbie
thinking.
Morgan.
Oof,
Oh
that'd
man.
be amazing.
Also, this is going to be shot in prime time. Like they've
Prime
got
time.
cameras and
They've
budget.
got budget.
And
They got
Budget.
budget. Budget.
the
Budget.
the only last thing I will say on this cost of casting is just because some of your faves, I don't think we're going to be getting a Randy here. I don't think we're going to be getting some of the other ones that have been, have their fan followings online. Like I think people need to set their expectations in a
Lower.
right manner. I think they need to understand that this is not going to be the All My Children that you grew up on. This is not going to be that daytime show that's 5 days a week with 72 characters that you get to have your ship that you've always wanted to be on here and forever and ever. Like I think this is going to be a good show. I just worry that these coupon clippers are going to get
Oh my
upset
God. Stop.
and be very disappointed in the product that we get because it's not their quote unquote all my children. And
And that's
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 what
why
worries
I
me.
was that's why I was a big proponent of just rebooting because we saw what happens when you set expectations and the new
Yeah,
show doesn't meet it.
absolutely.
That's what happened with Dallas on TNT. You know, the longtime fans thought that they were going to be getting, essentially the next generation of their show, really
Mm-hmm.
focused on, JR's son and other sort of
Mhm.
characters. And they didn't get that, and you saw the ratings fall and the disenchantment began. I think
Yep.
by letting people know from the beginning, this is something new. This is a new imagining. We are going to do X, Y, and Z, and that we are going to reach back and have some fun surprises and whatnot. but this is going to be sexy. This is going to be topical. It's going to be scandalous. We're going to put money into this. That's what I want. I'm like, if you had people throwing their, their monitors at the wall on
Uh-huh.
AOL on my children when Petey was getting serviced, okay, and they had a problem with some of the profanity. Like, I'm sorry if you're gonna see people talking about their pussy getting smashed on primetime television. Like, get used
Oh
to
man.
it, okay? Also,
I mean,
that would be great.
Who's gonna be gay on the show? Like, are we going to get
Kendall.
new?
No,
Like,
I'm
exactly. Are we gonna
sorry.
get some new uh relationships? Like, I'm just saying. Like, we finally get to have some primetime lesbian kisses. I'm just
I
saying.
think
It's
Kendall should be a polyamorous, sex
yes.
positive, uh, polyamorous, sex positive person who has sex with everyone and everything and falls in love and you
I
know
don't know. Can this
like
age work?
gets a Santos girl pregnant
Can
and then
Hillary
I don't
Duff
know makes out with
play
the
Kindle?
Santos brother. Like I would love to. I would just yeah. Let's
So
do
Sarah
it.
Michelle Gellar is Erica. Can Hillary Duff play Kindle?
If Kendall is a girl, sure.
Ah, I forgot Kindle's a man. I forgot. That would be wrong. My
I was
bad.
like, how old are we going here with Kendall?
Okay,
How
so
old?
who?
Twenties.
Like
Okay, 20. So
20s, 20s. Okay,
who's playing it?
for a guy, um,
I already know. I'm gonna keep quiet. I already know who I want it to be. I'm
for a guy, um, God, I would totally would like to see Matt Atkinson take over that role, but can we have his predecessor, Pearson Faudet, play the part?
Yes.
Whew, I would want Kendall sleeping with his mother if that happened. Okay, and I don't think that's the show that we want. But God, that would be a great role for him. That would be wonderful. Oh man.
All right. Who are you casting, Ryan?
Uh um I'm gonna keep that close to the vest for now. I want to
Mm.
save that for I want to
For
save
next
that
time.
for yes for next time.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay,
Okay.
because
Okay.
this is playing out in my head faster than I can put it together, and I'm yeah.
See, and
Mm-mm.
that's what I'll say is it's finally fun to talk about something positive in the soap world today. So, I'm not AMC's biggest fan. All My Children was not my show. But being able to talk about this and being excited about it and talking about the possibilities and what this could mean,
hmm
like, that's what excites me. That's why I was excited about the Prospect Park reboots. That's why I'm excited about this retelling of the genre because I think the genre is not dead. I think there's plenty of life left to live, and I am excited for what this means for the potential future because if it is successful, ABC loves the franchise, and ABC needs to flesh out its schedule so we could be seeing a One Life to Live. We could be seeing all of these other shows opening up their doors. We know in the past that people have tried to attempt to reboot other daytime soaps, and they were told that there wasn't any interest in it.
hmm
And you know what? We might see that change here. We might see a Guiding Light reboot. We might see an As the World Turns or Edge of Night, and where some of these other
Yeah, I would
shows
love it if Procter and Gamble just released the
they
rights
they
to all of them.
could. Maybe they'll see. You know what? Wait, hold on. We can maybe make some money here and see something come forward. I'm saying CW Passions 2022. I need it in my life, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Here's my pitch. You ready? Loving, but as a crime drama miniseries.
That's a crime drama miniseries.
As a crime
Okay.
drama miniseries. You follow these people of Corinth, Pennsylvania, and there's a big murder that happens, and it becomes a crime drama, and you find out who it's a whodunit, and it's a
Hmm.
miniseries because you never know if it's gonna re-air again. But I think that would be really great. Just
I'm
saying,
down for it. I'm down for it. I mean, I would watch it. I'm not gonna front.
I would watch it too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh,
Wow, it's so excited to
yeah.
be positive,
Right?
Jonathan.
Ryan, how many years of podcasting did it take where we have done nothing but be negative about our U.S. soaps? Like, I'm so excited to have something positive to say about the genre here in the States. Thank God. That's all I'll say. Thank God. And here's looking to 2021.
That's it.
We've got some good things coming. So, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Uh, Final thoughts. It's nice to see people who don't forget where they come from and in turn try to make something great out of it. I think that's something that is really great, and it's nice to see people coalesce around. Uh, and I would just say stay tuned for um, what 2021 will hopefully bring for all of us on this show and whatnot, and the content that's coming your way. And I just want to say that on a personal note, I'm so happy that I get to pop in and reunite with, some of my best friends and just be able to have some fun for a change. And like, we need that. Everybody needs some of that. And these guys give me that. So I love you guys.
Aw, any final thoughts, Novell?
I I just want to say that I think it's still refreshing to see how, while we are very critical of what we watch, it's mainly because of we care of what we're watching. We just want to see it thrive and be better than, we know it can be better, and that's why we give it some hardcore love sometimes. So I appreciate the fact that we're able to do that, and we're not showing any hatred towards it. We just want it to be better. And just the mere fact that we had this to talk about today in 2020, the year of sheer hell, we were able to talk about the possible resurgence of Pine Valley into the mainstream. I think that was a huge deal for all of us involved, and just brought a whole new spark in the soap Twitter sphere, because we were so used to seeing negative responses practically every day. We saw nothing but huge positive responses about this, and everybody was excited that this is a possibility that this could go forward. So I was very happy for that, and getting the chance to talk to with you guys again has been sheer brilliance for me, and it just shows how much I miss you. And I was glad to reconnect with you guys on this level. So
Aw.
awesome.
Well, I will tell you all listeners and us involved here, this is not the only podcast we're going to be doing. We will continue on, and that's my hope, is now that 2020's come to a close and we're able to finally rise from the ashes. I want to get back in the hang of things. I'm not going to comment on an exact schedule and commit us to anything just yet, but I've got a lot of plans, and I want to do this way more often than once every other year. We're going to sit down and, have conversations and jump on here and talk to you guys. And one of the cool things I want to do with more of the shows is also do them live. So we've had Enrique watching here in the chat and a couple others, and I just appreciate everybody who tuned in to watch us live. And I look forward to doing this more and discussing with you guys. I am very thankful that both Ryan and Novell were able to jump on here and talk with me. It's been a great night. It was really fun to connect, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. So thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
So, with that said, you can follow us on Twitter at OurTakeMedia. You can follow Ryan at Source Ryan, where he does all sorts of stuff over at TV Source and TV Source Magazine, where we've got a lot of interesting content coming up. You can follow Novell over at Buzzworthy Radio, where he's got some buzzworthy interviews in the pipeline. And if you know anything, I can tell you they're going to be good, and you're going to definitely want to tune in. You can follow me at SoapWikiJohn. And until next time, as always, bye-bye.
I love when you do that.
Alrighty, bye bye.
Bye bye.
It's your iconic
Bye-bye.
sign off.
You gotta have a sign off, and that is